to our first SureFire Live on Facebook. Thank you for joining us. It looks like we are going to attempt our inaugural shot at this. We really want to do it for a couple of reasons. We want to make sure that people understand how to use the SureFire training platform, but also we just want to talk business every week. And so it won't necessarily every week be about that platform. It'll be a bunch of business people talking about specifically the chimney business. So I'll be the host. My name is Mark Stoner. In case you don't know me, I run a chimney business in Nashville, Tennessee. And I also host a podcast called the Blue Collar Gold Podcast. We do that every week and try to help businesses run better. I've been in business for 36 years, made a ton of mistakes, and hopefully learned how to do a few things right and share it with people. We've partnered up with some of the industry's best people that I think that can really help other chimney companies run better, sell better, have better technicians, have better offices. So you can ask questions on this. I should be able to see. It's my first time hosting a live event, so I'm going to be learning along with you. And so I wanted to really kind of introduce the team as to who we are and what we do. So I'm going to bring them on right now. And this is a team that most of it's behind the scenes at SureFire. We also have a customer service person, Brianna Davis. She couldn't join us tonight. She will be joining us in the future for questions and helping us run this. She helps us run this on a daily basis. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce the team across the top and Alan and then Jake. If you guys want to introduce yourself real quick to the people, tell them what you do and who we are here.
Hey guys, thanks to everybody who joined. I'm Alan Rush. I'm one of the partners with SureFire, and I own a company called Rush Profits. And basically, I do sales training. Help people get better at helping their technicians grow. Helping their technicians sell more, and helping companies be more profitable through better sales training practices, better systems, better processes. And if you're currently a member of SureFire, you've probably seen some of my courses. We've probably got 8 to 10 sales courses right now that just help you guys get better in every part of the sales process. So that's my main role. And behind the scenes on SureFire, I handle a lot of the technical aspects of making sure that all the courses get rolled out every week and that everything's working as it should.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Alan. Jake?
Hello. Yeah, Jake Loeffler in Vermont. I am an owner-operator of Brickliners Masonry and Chimney Service. I haven't contributed a ton of courses here. There is one, the Thimble course. And mostly I focus on business development, systems, and I'm just background help for these guys that produce these videos. So,
thank you, Cliff.
Cliff's
Slagle with Clean Sweeps of Michigan. Been in the industry for over 30 years now. My expertise would be more hands-on with technicians. If you need some hands-on advice as far as entry-level masonry work to get technicians going at that kind of stuff, I do that. I'll do, basic chimney sweeping, how to guide people into the technical world of that.
Thank you, Cliff. Is it breaking up a little bit, Jim?
Hey, I'm Jim Brewer. I'm one of the partners in SureFire, and I also own a business called Rooftop Safety USA, where I do safety and technical training for chimney companies. I've been in the business since '78. Owned a chimney company. I sold it a few years ago. Been doing training for around the industry, primarily for CSIA since about 1986, and I do a lot of code development work. I'm on the NFPA 211 and NFPA 54 National Fuel Gas Code committees. So I just like sharing what I know and helping sweeps grow their businesses.
So thank you, guys. I'm going to switch back to the single host mode. So these are some of the guys behind the scenes that we work a lot on how bringing the best classes to you, bringing the best offers that we know of to bring, and that we work monthly to put out new courses. So on our platform, basically you can, I'm going to talk about how it kind of works, but that's who we are. And then I'm going to bring up kind of some topics that I wanted to go over. How it works is we also teamed up with CSIA to help host their classes as well. So they develop content and it's hosted on the platform. We develop content, it's hosted on the platform. And there's multiple ways to access that. And so there's a couple ways. A la carte, which means if you just, and those are the CSIA courses, they have them in single course by 3, 5, 10. And the more you buy, the more courses you buy, the cheaper it is. And you can access courses. They cost anywhere from $69 a course up to $299 a course for several of the larger, like the online or the Reline and some of the reviews things. And then the other way to do it is a subscription. The subscription model itself basically gives you access to everything, all the courses that CSIA puts out and the courses that we put out from the partners that you just met, and lots of other content developers for us. We have over 40 different instructors on the platform that you can learn from, because sometimes it gets old learning from the same person. If you heard me talking every week, you might get a little tired of that. So we break that up with different experts around the industry to bring you the best that we've seen. Also, before I go on too far here, I can see comments on here. If you guys want to speak to me, I'd like this to be a back and forth. If you're on here and you have questions, please post it. And if I can post that to the group to talk about. I understand that most people will be watching this. If you do watch it after the live, I know whenever there's a live going, I don't necessarily click in right then because I don't want them to say something about me watching. So some people, come in and out. But anyway, welcome. So on this, I hope that's clear about how the subscription versus a la carte works. Also, you can book a demo if you've never seen this and you think, well, the main thing is education important to your company? It was very important to my company. And as my company grew, I didn't have a great platform to make sure everybody was doing things the same way. And as we grew, we did what we call big dog, little dog training, where one person would teach, I would teach somebody initially, and then he would teach somebody and he would teach somebody else. And it went down the path. And then next thing you know, we weren't doing things the same at all. And every technician was doing it different. So we had to kind of bring back some kind of normalcy, some kind of accountability to the training. And that's where this platform and online training helped my company and has helped, hundreds of other companies now. So I want to talk about the next thing, which was I want to bring on Alan Rush, because he's going to show some different ways to get the most out of your SureFire subscription. If you're already on the subscription, why is it valuable? So let me bring Alan on right here. Let's see here. Whoops, I got to remove. I'm learning this. Okay, Alan, welcome.
Hey, good to see you. Good job, man.
Thank you. All right, so show anybody basically how to get the most. If you're on this, how do you get the most out of it? It's pretty daunting when you sign on and you can see hundreds of courses, and you're like, now what do I do?
So a couple things. If you're already a subscriber, the easy way to listen from me right now is there's actually a course called Get the Most Out of Your SureFire Subscription. So in this week, the three big things that people ask us the most, and really things that people don't realize they can do, is, of course, you've got the hundreds of, literally thousands of modules now that you get as part of your subscription from us and the CSIA. But most people don't realize they can add their own content to just their team. So if you've ever created an SOP, if you've ever created a even a YouTube video, if you've created a test, a quiz, anything for your team, you can actually put that onto SureFire, and you can assign it to individuals or your entire team for them to either watch or to take a test or to quiz them. We have people creating quizzes all the time. Like, hey, we did a class last week on masonry. You create 10 questions, multiple choice or whatever you want to do. And they get on there and they will, and you can see how much information your team is retaining. So a lot of people don't realize you can do that. So I will show you how to do it. But if you're on SureFire, you can click on that course there as well. The other thing that we get from people is, and Mark and Jake are going to talk about this a little later, is how do I get my guys to really to take the courses, right? It's available to them, but they're busy. Do they do it at home? Do they do it at work? Do I pay them to do it? Do they do it for free? There's all that kind of stuff. And then we're going to talk about that in a second. But the second course on here is, what are they doing on there? What courses are they taking? Are they even, when's the last time they logged in? Am I paying for this thing and they're not using it? Or are they really getting the full value out of it? Or if they took quizzes and they took tests and they're, let's say, for example, they're preparing for the CDET review or the CSI review, you can go in there and you can see how they answer all the test questions and understand exactly what areas that they've really mastered and what areas you may need to continue to coach up and train before they go to that next step. So kind of how to do that. And then probably the most powerful function that really this software offers is the ability to customize and individualize the training that different members of your team can get based on literally the person, the team they're in. Maybe they're in the gas division. They don't need to see, sweeping stuff. Maybe they're in the masonry division. They don't need to see gas stuff. Maybe they're in the office and they don't need to see anything technical, and we just need to show them, things that are relevant to answering the phone or softwares or scheduling or industry information. So the software allows you to basically make it as detailed or as customized as you want. And so I'm going to stop this screen real quick, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to share a new screen with you just so you can kind of get a quick idea of what this looks like. And just as Marcus, this is my first time doing this as well, so bear with us as we kind of do this. So one thing that is really cool, and you should be able to see the screen now, is Mark's given us permission to show his screen, and Mark's got a large company. He's got multiple states, multiple divisions, but he's created an apprentice program where people, when they come onto his company, they have 30 days to complete a certain amount of courses. Once they complete those courses, they go to apprentice step 2, complete the next round of courses for 30 days. And so this is a nice chart view that you can kind of see all the sub teams that Mark has got set up for his company. He's got people everywhere from apprentices 1 through 5 to his guys that are out selling. Everybody has to take the safety courses and the rope courses. And then he's got certain gas divisions and of course his office staff. So like, for example, if I click on this gas division, I can see he's got about 33 people currently in his gas division. And I can go through and he's currently got 17 courses just on SureFire that are all around taking gas. And so what he can do is go in and check on his people to find out how they're progressing. Are they taking the courses? Did they take the quizzes? And how are they doing? And are they ready to go to the next step? The last thing I'm going to stop and show you one more quick thing here, because this was a big discussion on Facebook the other day. People were asking about, we need more training for our office. We need more training for our people that aren't necessarily in the field. So this is something, if you're currently a subscriber, you can call or email Brianna. We were hoping she was going to be here today, but she had a last minute thing come up, so she'll be here next week. And she's a master at setting up all these learning paths. But with SureFire, we have an office learning path that currently has about 20 courses in it. And it's things that are just about, what's the difference between a prefab and a masonry? What's the difference between an insert and a fireplace? What's the difference between, gas logs and vented versus ventless, and all these types of things, everything to how to answer the phone, how to sell value, how to overcome objections to, well, your competition is, doing it for $100. Why would I pay you $250? Those types of things. And a couple of my sales courses are in there as well that talk about some of the things that the technicians in the field will encounter that the office can ask better questions on the front end to hopefully help them be more successful in the field. And so there's an entire path on there for pretty much anybody in your team. And then the beautiful thing about it is almost every course, over 80% of the courses that are on here have CEUs for them. So whether it's CSI or NFI, you can not only learn and get the information, but you can continue your official education as well. So turn this back over to Mark.
So I think that was, hopefully that was helpful to see a really quick overview on how it's very important for the office to understand what we're doing. And a lot of times in the chimney industry, we kind of work on technical, we work on our codes and how our chimney sweeps work and some other things. But a lot of times the office really needs a lot of training too with scripting, and we've got a course coming out next month that's going to go around scripting. And so I would also like to actually, Jim, if you don't mind coming on here and talking. So in my company, I have these apprentice steps where if you come onto my company, you get entered into apprentice step 1. I know a lot of companies have set themselves up this way, and I'll talk about how we get our team to use it a little bit later. But I'd like to bring Jim on and talk about why did he build these apprentice steps? Why did he build these new technician modules? And also, they've recently been updated to go with the new CSI manual. So, Jim, I'm gonna bring you on to talk about what's in these new tech modules, and why did you develop them?
So, the new tech modules, there's currently 5 of them on the platform. I just finished up a 6th one yesterday that will be released April 1st. But these new tech modules are a systematic way to deliver training to your new technicians. We start off with new tech module 1 with very basic information. There's a heavy focus on safety in new tech module 1. We talk about how to wear your respirator, your climbing helmet. We talk a lot about fall protection. And then we get into very basic stuff about the chimney industry, the difference between a factory-built fireplace and a masonry fireplace. And we talk about dust control and how to set things up in the home. Those are all the topics that are in module 1. It also takes in a couple of chapters from Chimney Inventing Essentials, which is the certification manual for CSIA.
Right.
Then we move into module 2, and the module 2 focuses on actual cleaning techniques, how to clean different types of systems, factory built, masonry fireplaces, freestanding installations, and so forth. So there's a big focus on just the cleaning skills in module 2. Then in module 3, we introduce inspection techniques. So there's a big focus there on how to do a proper level 1 inspection, so that now they've got safety, they got cleaning, they've got inspection. And then we move into progressively more advanced topics in module 4, module 5, and then the new module 6 that will be released next month focuses on getting the candidate ready for certification. How to use the International Residential Code and prepare for that portion of the exam, and how to take the certification exam. So by the time they go through all 6 modules, there's really 2 goals in mind. The number 1 goal is just how to be a competent service tech and get out there and make money for you. And then the second goal is to be ready to take the CSIA certification exam. So
Right.
each module is going to take, depending on the technician, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to go through. If a guy's really pushing it and energetic and smart, he'll get through it in 10 days. Other guys might be a little bit longer, but the goal is to have a structured training program. So in a relatively short period of time, a couple of months, you've got a guy ready to go out and work safely in the field.
So that took you a while to come up with that whole process, huh?
Yeah, I worked on that, just accumulating things I'd used in my own business. I hired my first employee in 1983. I had to learn how to train people and how to work with them. And so that's, something that's been evolving for nearly 40 years.
When I first met you a long time ago, I could not figure out.
You're going to tell that story?
Yeah, I'm not going to tell the whole story, but I'm going to tell the story that I couldn't figure out how you could train all these people and have all these trucks running when I was struggling with, whenever I'd hire one person and I'd have maybe two people, and it turned into complete disaster as I'm trying to bring people on. And I saw you somehow had a system to have people that knew what they were doing, and you could develop a product and a service that you could stand behind, you could put your name on and be okay with it. And for me, I could not do that for the longest time. Now, we got better over time, but really that's the basis. You've been developing this for years, and then basically you're kind of sharing it with the world of how you do this. And I think a lot of us benefit from you kind of downloading your brain as one of the industry leaders and putting out there how to do things the right way to develop a company that can grow and not grow into complete chaos. Now, that's on the training side. Now, we're going to talk about business and sales and operations where other chaos can happen. But on the training side, that's really the basis of why we started this, is to, as a business owner, so you can sleep at night, so you can feel good about the product you're putting out. You can feel good about the technicians walking into a home, and we all started from the same place. Like all of our new technicians, we start with New Tech Module 1, and we put it together in the apprentice step 1, and that for us, it's the first 30 days. And I'm going to talk about that with Jake Loeffler in a little bit, how we get our people to go through it, because that's the other hard thing is, especially if employee's been with you a long time, new people, they hopefully want to try to impress you, and they'll do what they're told. But the older guys are like, I've been here for a while, I don't know if I need to do this. And that's a different challenge. But anything else you'd like to add on, the modules that you're developing for SureFire?
So the new tech modules were really the first thing. It's almost kind of what we launched SureFire with, that and just a couple of other courses. But since then, in the years since we've launched it, it's been my goal to put at least one new course out every month. There are a lot of courses about gas. I've been servicing gas appliances since probably '86. I've been teaching the CSIA week-long gas class for 20 years or so. And there's also a lot of safety stuff on there. I'm also an OSHA authorized trainer, and I've got a lot of safety courses on there. So every month there's new stuff coming out. The last few months I've been working on courses for the International Residential Code. There's probably about 6 hours worth of training on the International Residential Code now. If you've got a technician that really wants to take a deep dive into learning what the code means, we've got the training for you.
So on this, just to bring up one more thing about gas, a lot of people are NFI certified or pursuing the NFI certification. Can you talk about what's on SureFire regarding that?
Yeah, so on SureFire, we have all of the NFI courses. We have the NFI Core, which you have to take before you can have any of the other certifications, unless new feature from CSIA. Now, if you're a CSIA certified sweep, you don't have to take Core. But if you need Core, we've got the training. We've got the gas training for the NFI gas. We have pellet, we have wood, and we also have the hearth design specialist is what they call it. So we have the full range of NFI certification training available.
Right. And also one other thing, it's automatically updated. If you're on SureFire, make sure you put in your file that you put your CSI certification if you are certified that way, and your NFI certification number in your settings. Go into your account, put your numbers in there. Then when you complete a course, it will be automatically updated on, I think it's Tuesday of every week. It goes to NFI and goes to CSI, or they get it out of there to make sure that you get the automatic credit and it applies to your certification. So we've recently developed that to make sure it's as easy as possible for you to get your CEUs and keep them updated with your certifications. Well, thank you, Jim. I appreciate you adding to that. And you're just this guy is one of the hardest working guys in the whole industry. He is constantly learning. He is an absolute technical master. And, you know, I love to listen to and read business books and operations books and or leadership books. I tell Jim, hey, Jim, you got to read this. He said, man, just kill me. Give me a code book any day, and I will read that top. And for me, that's the worst thing you could do to me is set me down in front of a code book. Now, I know the codes. I love them, but I think it's part of the advantage of you know, kind of the teamwork that we have is that we all have different specialties. And, you know, you kind of got in business, you got to find what you're good at and then hire a team around you of things that you're not good at. So you have an overall strong team. So thank you, Jim. I am going to bring up the next topic, which is, let's see here. It's going to be, you know, how do I get the most out of my team? And how do I get the most, how do I get my technicians to use it? How do I get my people to do it? And I'm going to bring on Jake Loeffler. He's got a crew that uses this up in Vermont. And welcome, Jake.
Hello there.
So I'm going to kind of go back and forth, Jake, because I want to talk about how we get our technicians to use it. And I've noticed on Facebook and some other things that's kind of a hot topic. Like, how do I get people to do it? Do I compensate them? Do I give them time off? Do I block out time? Like what do I do? How do I get people to use this thing? I've spent money on one of the best learning platforms there are in the industry, and I can't get my people to do it. So how do you do it?
Well, I think there's many different ways, but whether you pay the guys or don't pay the guys, the most important thing is that you somehow get them to use it. So when we hire somebody new, typically they don't know much about chimneys. So most of the time they're very eager to learn and they're like a sponge. Right. That's also when you can tell if the person is motivated, if they're going to work long-term for your company. So we'll just immediately during onboarding, let them know, here's the plan. You've got 3, 4, 5 months, depending on how quickly you want to learn this stuff. Because if the quicker you learn it, the more money you'll get quicker. Right. So we will tie
a process of you start at a certain level, and as you progress through the training, you bring their compensation up. Is that how it works?
Correct. So they need to get through at least the first 5 new tech modules and take the test and pass it. Then they will get compensated for that.
You're talking about the tests in SureFire, all those tests as they go along, the quizzes and tests.
Well, really, after they take the review and then get certified.
Oh, okay.
By the PSA, they get more money. So as long as they're working their way through that, And, some people get it done a lot quicker than others, but that's the only real way to stay working in the company is working your way through those modules. However, we'll say, all right, here's module 1. We'll give you a few weeks, and then we're going to check in with you, see how you're doing. And also you can log in and look and see, are they taking? I mean, some people depends, they have kids, or everybody's situation is different. So you can't just say everybody's got to get this done in 30 days. Sometimes you just have to be a little more lenient,
So I'm gonna post. I had a nice comment here from Jennifer. I'm gonna post it. It says SureFire's helped us at Arthur Black Chimney and Dryer Exhaust in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Training certified 3 new women chimney technicians.
Yeah.
Huge thanks to Brianna at SureFire for answering my question. So thank you, Jennifer, for letting us know that. Brianna is amazing, and congratulations on 3 new women chimney sweeps. We love that. We need more of that in this industry, and that's powerful. So thank you. So for me, I might be a little more strict on that 30-day window for new technicians, and we bring them into the apprentice step 1, and there's a lot in apprentice step 1. And when you join my company, a lot of times the apprentices are riding around in a van, in the passenger seat, learning, talking. Right. And for me, that's a lot of time they can use. Now, I don't pay them separately. They're being paid. There's a lot of window time. There's a lot of windshield time, a lot of downtime, sometimes waiting on a technician to leave in the morning if he's got to get paperwork, or even at the end of the day. So for me, there's a lot of time at work. I'm not trying to get them to work at home on this, but sometimes they do. And for us, we pay hourly to start with our technicians for the first 30 days. But you've got 30 days to go through the process, and then you actually go to commission in our company once you've got through first step. Most of the people that work for me can't wait to move to commission after 30 days. And sometimes they get done with apprentice step 1. It's like, can I move? I'm like, no, it's 30 days and then you move. But if they don't get it done, that's a real problem for me. I believe if they're not going to do my online program, they're probably not going to do my paperwork right. They're not going to get my pictures right. They're not tracking like we want. And we're very focused on that. So let me ask you this. What happens if they don't do it? What you say, hey, you've got X amount of time. What do you do if they don't do it?
Well, it depends on the situation, but most of the time we'll just adjust. I mean, we're not going to give them a whole nother month, but we'll check in with them before the 30 days is over and see how they're tracking. Right. And then, if they're way behind, well, what's going on? Like, why aren't you getting this done? And we'll give them, it doesn't happen often, it's a red flag. And it's not like, if it keeps tracking that way, you kind of know what the writing's on the wall, but we'll just see how they work, because not everybody works the same. So,
I've also found that if I don't give them something like this or a path, sometimes they feel lost in the company. They're like, what do I do next? I'm just kind of waiting. Like, if you don't give them a path to go on, they kind of feel like can be forgotten. They kind of feel like, what's the next right thing to do? And when you lay out a training platform in front of them, like literally all of our steps, they've got months of work to do. They've got months, they've got a path to do. And then at the end of the path is certification. And then there's some field checkoffs and make sure you actually can do the work. You're not just book smart. And then you get to run a truck for us, which is an increase in everything. Is that kind of how you do it too?
Yep, exactly.
So, okay, so one of the big questions is, we can't get our people to do it. And my son actually works for a pretty large online training platform, very big, not in this industry, but in another space. And, his question was, whenever we hear that, whenever, a company says, I can't get my people to do online training, his question to them is, well, how important is education to you in your business? And if you can't get your people to do training, then it must not be that important to you, was his point. I'm like, wow, that's a great way to put it. So how important is education to you, Jake, and your company?
Well, education is everything, because if you don't get a knowledgeable employee, then who knows? I mean, anything can happen. We're always training. We're a training company. So it's mandatory that the leads have to teach. They still have field training. And so you get a new guy and sometimes people complain, I got the new guy today. But the quicker you can get them trained up and ready to go, the easier it is for everybody, right? So go ahead.
Do you compensate them for training? When you say, hey, you've got to do this, do you compensate?
I would only compensate them in special situations. Say I assign a course to the whole entire company and they have to take this course, by next Thursday or something. And so there's times it's not a guarantee, but I have in the past, but normally no, I don't.
So you probably, again, I don't want to talk state laws. I don't want to talk about your labor laws. You need to check with your local state laws on how it works. And I've heard it can be very different across different parts of the country. So, but for me, I know some people that pay X amount per course. Let's just say for a number, $20 per course. You're going to pay now, not pay to study, because you and I may study at completely different rates. So I pay to complete the course, complete the test, pass the test. You get X amount of dollars for that, which seems like a pretty fair way to do it. But there also has to be some kind of accountability if they don't. And for me, the new guys are no problem. It's the older guys that have been with me a while that I do need to pay them. I do need to require things. I do need to follow up. And quite honestly, it is the hardest part because they've already proven themselves, and I don't want to fire somebody over not doing an online course, but I have to have some kind of accountability. And for us, it's typically you get more money on the back end. Your percentages can go up, and there's bonuses and things like that. So what else on using it? What about your office staff? How do they use it?
Well, like I said, we do occasionally just assign courses to the entire company. So for office staff, I would just send them through a lot of the new tech modules. We've in the past had our office staff get certified. So, I mean, that's just the same path as everybody else. They're much more knowledgeable on the phone.
Right.
So we don't do it 100% of the time for all office staff, but it's very good to start sending them through new tech modules.
It's amazing when I can once, and I know there's a lot of companies that use our program and they refer back to us that, wow, it's amazing to hear my office staff come on, listen, watch even all the technical stuff, but also office stuff, and how much faster they can answer the phone intelligently. I shouldn't say intelligently, with technical knowledge. That sometimes I listen to our office staff talk and I'm like, a lot of them haven't seen what they're talking about, but they know it really well. They've seen it on videos. They see it with their technicians. They've seen pictures coming in with all the paperwork, and they speak so amazingly technical. You would have thought they were technicians for 15 years. And so in that, we are developing some more office courses because we realize how important that is. And as we said before, there is a whole new office team track. Now, it won't show up on your subscription if you're on this. If you know how to build the course, you can do it. But also, Brianna at our facility can help you build that track. I'm going to put up a little bit of her information here. If you go to surefire.academy/book-a-call, you can set up a demo with Brianna, and she will help you set this whole thing up. She can show you, because it's really helpful. Like, we can talk about it all day long, but sometimes you need to jump into that, and it can be daunting. Like, we found the bigger that we make this, adding content is very important, but also adding functionality to it and ease of use is really the best first step for us. And so Brianna, she couldn't join us tonight, and I really want her to walk through some things, so she'll join us on another night. We are going to do this weekly, and I'm going to go into talking about that in a minute. But anything else And also the people commenting, do you have any questions on how to use SureFire that you can ask Jake or me? How do you get your people to do it? We've got a nice comment from Miss Stacy File. SureFire training has helped me build strong confidence in my knowledge, which helps me so much in the field in so many different ways. Stacy is also a female certified sweep. I love what's happening here. We've got the strong women in the industry showing up on to learn more stuff. So that's fantastic. So thank you, Jake. Anything else you'd like to add to finish up this topic?
Not really. Other than it's a lot of trial and error. I mean, listen to Mark. He obviously has a good way to do it. I feel like my way works, but we're kind of tweaking it here and there. The most important thing is if it's not working, reach out to somebody. There are people in this industry who use it and have rolled it out successfully. So don't be afraid to reach out to any of us to ask us what you can do to improve.
Yeah, thank you, Jake. All right, so I do have another comment here from Jennifer. I'm going to put her on the board. She says, we found that giving them the book, then onward to the videos and asking them to do this on their own has never worked out. We now schedule in-person sessions to read through the book. Then we provide the tech device and schedule time in person to review the videos. We pay the Santa Fe living wage for the training. That makes sense. Then significant raises once they obtain certifications. We do schedule roll-alongs in the trucks, or we call them ride-alongs too, during the training period. So far, this has helped us tremendously to identify, I don't know if it's showing the rest of her thing. So thank you, Jennifer. That makes a lot of sense. And, I think, a lot of times we can talk about what works for us, but you've got to get in and figure out what works for your culture, your team, and then, what works for your people. But once you develop a system that is repeatable, don't always change it for the next guy and the next girl. And just, you got to have an accountability piece. Once you figure out something that does work, you got to kind of stick to it. Now, as Jake mentioned, sometimes there's exceptions. Recently, we brought on a technician that was going down both paths at once. He was being a certified sweep and he was a gas technician. So he was taking both paths in our platform. Well, I got to give him more time to get all that done. He was working. We could track. You could watch that he was getting all of the courses taken care of. He was working a lot. He's a young, about to be recently married, about to be a father, working a lot in busy season. So there's got to be some flexibility. I got a note from Alan. He wants to, I'm going to put you back on here, Alan, to add something to this. Hey there.
Jake just made a really good comment on our chat that the person who administers your company, your team, is critical, right? Getting the right person that is assigning the courses, making sure they're holding them accountable. That's huge. But what I was going to say is one of the biggest pieces of feedback that I get from people, one on my sales training, but two just in general on SureFire is, man, we brought you in, you did this class, right? I mean, how many times have I done a class for your team? And I had 12 people there. Well, now it's busy season and I've got 5 new guys. And so those 5 new guys have not been through that original class or that original training. So having as much turnover as people have in a very fluid industry, it's not always feasible to, as great as it would be to bring Jim Brewer in and do a safety ropes course every month. It's just not feasible. As great as it would be to bring in a trainer and do this, it's not always feasible. So when you can take people back to the well and say, here's where we got our information, and here's the core training that we do. It doesn't matter if you had 1 person or 10 people at any time throughout the year, they can quickly catch up to where the rest of your team is. Whereas the old way that we did it, we were only dependent upon the person in the truck training the guy in the seat next to him. And I would almost assure you, if you have 5 people training 5 other people, they're all getting different training, right? And at some point, you're like, I swear I never taught that.
Correct. I can't tell you how many times that happened. And the guy that's training may have missed the training that we brought in. Let's say we did bring in a specialist to come in. He may have been out that week, and I don't remember it. I forget about it. Now he's training my guys on something that we changed the system, or that's just the difficult part. And as a business owner, you've got to say the same thing 10,000 times. You got to say it over and over. You got to train over and over. And the people who've been with you a long time, like, man, this is the 1,000th time you've said that. But to somebody else, it's brand new. Right. And the way this online systems can work, everybody is going to get the same training, as long as they're going to at least start with a base level knowledge, how to apply Saver Systems products, for instance. How do we set up a ladder? How do we protect a home from dust? Like, everybody is getting the same agreed upon training that is absolutely critical if you're trying to build a business. So also, I've got another nice note for here. It says, Alan Rush, your person-to-person training combined with the SureFire training have honestly been major key factors in my success thus far.
Thank you, Stacy. I appreciate that. I love that with Stacy. One day I'll tell a really bad story about her that involves a ladder. But outside of that, we've always had a great time, and I love that you're doing so well.
Yeah, Stacy is really an avid learner. She's very hungry to learn. I've actually been with her before, where she's a sponge, and those kind of people really get the most out of, the people who don't get anything out of this already know it all, right? You can't teach them anything. The people who get the most are super hungry for knowledge and learning more and more about their craft. And it's just such a unique business and every chimney is so different, and codes are so different that it takes a lot of training to be good at this. And it's not hard to train yourself overall. If you're a one-person operation, you get to be an expert, no problem. It really gets tricky when you start to build a team, and you got to put your name on that work, and you've got to sleep at night when those people are doing inspections. And that's part of the reason I'm a big fan of the CSIA certification, because I know that I've brought my people to a standard that we can all agree on, that is a good standard for the industry. And it's very important to have that level of certification, that level of training. So when I put my name on that truck, and when they go into people's houses, I can feel good. I can sleep at night. I can understand that I've given them the best I can. Now, we're all humans, and we make mistakes, but in general, we've moved the baseline way up, to start with. And I say it a lot. Like, a lot of times I hear my guys talking after a few months of training, and they know more than I did in the first 10 years working by myself, or 15 years. They know so much. You see companies that use this all the time, Alan. What do you see come out of it? They watch your training, but they have you in person. Like, what do you see come out of this?
Well, it was the big eye opener for me. What I just said earlier was, I would go, because a lot of times I'll go to a company every month, or every 2 months, or every 3 months. And man, I would go and do an 8-hour class for this company, and then I would go 3 months later to do some in the field stuff, and half the team had changed. And I'm like, oh man, did we just waste that 8 hours? It's like, no, because we have it on video, and we can go back and we can watch it, but we got to get these people up to speed quickly. So the way that I see people using it, at least for my training, is before I get on site, is they take my SureFire courses. So I'm not spending time doing technical sales training or process training or system training. They already know the process, and then I'm just helping them implement it in the field. And so it's the same thing with Jim's rope course. There's so much just basic stuff that you need to learn about that can be done in a classroom, that you don't need to spend live time, whenever you're bringing someone out to do that. So, but as far as overall big picture, I think your apprentice step program is by far number one. Is I hire a new employee today, how quickly can I get him generating money for me in a safe and effective and quality way? And so putting them through that path of knowing that there's checks and balances, and if they fail, they go back and I can see where they failed, and I can work on those weaknesses for them. I think that's probably one of the biggest parts of this is, it's one thing to pass a test, but to be able to go back and say, okay, you got 80%, what 20% did you not get right? And I need to work a little bit harder, because that 20% is still just as important as the 80% that you got right. So.
Right. Before we had this training platform, my process was hire on, ride with a guy for a year, ride with a couple guys, bounce around, make sure, watch the work, make sure you understand what we're doing, get certified, and boom, they're in a truck. Well, it really came to light when this happened with my son. My son had helped me since he was a little kid. He was always with me in the passenger seat. A lot of times in the summer when he wasn't working, he would go out and help me. And then when he finished college, he came back to work for me for a little bit, and he was apprentice. And he's like, yeah, I got this. He passed certification, flying colors, no problem. He just straight out of college. It was easy for him. And then I put him in a truck, and it went south from there. He's like, Dad, I handed the guys tools a lot of times. I took the vacuum in and out. I put the ladder up and down. I mixed the mortar. I handed them stuff, or I cleaned up the job site and the work site. I didn't really learn why we're doing certain things, exactly what we're doing, because I handed them the stuff and they did it. And some technicians are good trainers. They want to help. Some guys want to get the job done and get to the next job or get home. And so the technician or the apprentice may not learn very well. And so that was an eye opener and part of the reason that we developed the system, that everybody gets the training. And one last story I remember was a guy came to me, and he'd been with me about 3 months, and he said, at what point do I really understand what you guys are talking about, what we're doing? Like all these things you guys are talking about, I don't even know what we're talking about here. And I'm like, well, you'll catch on, you just stay with us and you'll realize what it is. Well, I don't have that problem anymore. When they go through the process, they know what the products are. They know how we apply them. They know what we do now. They may have not physically done them, but they know the baseline of what we're doing and why we're doing it. Yep. And I think that's a big step for a lot of companies. So thank you. Anything else to add, Alan?
No, I think that's good. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Well, thank you. So we're gonna do this every week. We're gonna do it every week for a while, until either people don't like it or we're tired of it or whatever. Because I think, and we're gonna add different topics. So we're gonna talk about business. Like a lot of my courses on SureFire are how we market to companies, how important leadership is, compensation programs, attendance policies. Standard policies that we use. How do we make standard operating procedures for a company? How do we build job descriptions? So this is going to be basically a show about the chimney industry from our point of view, from my point of view, and also from bringing on special guests. So, we've got some friends that have a wide variety of knowledge that I think will help the industry. And we're going to try to do it every week. I think we're going to try to do it every week for a while on this day, same time. We'll try to keep it roughly an hour. If we run out of something to talk about, we'll shut it down. If we keep going and people ask questions, then we will keep it going. I do have another question here. I'm going to go ahead and post it before I close out the show. Justin says, what's the norm for training pay? I have milestones and paths in my company that reward learning with more pay. Should I be paying the same hourly rate with my guys to train at home? That's a really interesting question. Jake, I may bring you on. I don't know if I'm surprising Jake on this one. Were you able to see that question from Justin? You're muted.
Yeah, I see it. In order to work in a chimney company, you need to learn how to work on chimneys. So they can get as much. I mean, there's a lot of downtime, like Mark said, in the trucks, in the morning, at the end of the day, where they can get paid to learn. But if they're efficient and they're planning ahead, I think if you give them a fair timeline, that they can get paid most of the time for doing the work. And then if there's just going to be some time, maybe at the end of the day or while they're at home during the weekends, whatever it is, to get through the rest of it. So, I mean, it's really important, and we don't typically pay if they're not getting it done in the time frame.
So on his question, what's the norm for training pay? I can tell you kind of what we do on this. We start, when we bring people on, this may be totally counterintuitive to what most people think, but we try to bring people on at the highest level of pay we can on an hourly basis. So because I found that if I try to start people off cheap and training pay level, like I may not get the great guy or the great girl to walk through the door, even if I start at a low rate. So I've switched that to, I want to pay the absolute most I can to get the best people in, because which costs you more? Never seeing the superstar and the really responsible, great person, or trying to start somebody cheap, and if they don't work out, you didn't pay too much for them. My opinion was, I have a hard time bringing somebody from let's just say not a great employee to a superstar. I want somebody that's already great at communication, somebody that already tracks and understands leadership and culture and things. I want to bring that person in. So I'm going to pay really well for the first 30 days. Then they will switch to commission, and they're still being trained, but they're pulling their own weight. We've done some studies, and this is really common, of how many hours you actually work in a day. Like, how many hours are you literally working on the job, which at most, let's just say it's 8-hour day. Typically, you're really not working more than 4 hours actually on job site. You're driving to it, you're coming away from it, you're at the shop, you're at the supply house or the brickyard. Like, there's a lot of time that you're actually not working. In an apprentice situation, for me, there's a lot of time that they could be working in the van, going back and forth. You can watch a video in the van. I've seen my guys set the phone in the cup holder and sit there and watch videos as they drive. And then they can ask the technician, hey, what about this? Or is this how we do it? Or, you can, there's time to do it. So I hope that answers your question. Bart Ogden, he says, lots of ways to do it. We pay as an online training bonus at overtime rate per video hour. That's good. I like that. Now, I can tell you this, Bart Ogden has one of the most comprehensive training setups I have ever seen. He is, it's impressive to see what Bart has and what his people have to do, and they're super well trained. So what Bart says is very accurate, and I like that. Lots of ways to do it. We pay as an online training bonus at overtime rate per video hour. So when they finish the job, however long it was, I guess they turn in a ticket and they get paid for that. That's really good. So guys, that's our first. Thank you so much for being part of our first SureFire Live. I'm going to be the host of this every week, and I'm looking forward to it. I love this industry. I love the education that's happening now and all the possibilities for it. There was a time not that long ago where we thought this industry was just kind of fade away and die. And if you've seen it over the last 10 years, it's been an amazing growth of education, proficiency, what we do as chimney companies. We just used to sweep chimneys, and now we're full restoration specialty contractors on a whole nother level, and everything in between. So, you can build the one-person operation and do it the way you want, or you can build a multi-truck operation and have a completely different business. And it's all good. It's all part of this industry that I find fascinating and I've been in love with for a very long time. So please join us every week. You'll subscribe, tell your friends about it, share this video, and we're just wanting to get a lot of information out there, and we want the best for this industry. So thanks again for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.